Hello, welcome to 20 minutes from my morning flow class. This week we're looking at Tadasana. So Tadasana is the mountain pose that we come to at the top of the mat quite often in yoga. It's done a lot, and it can often be one that we don't really think of as a posture, but we just pass by really quickly. However, it's a great one because it's a blueprint for all the other poses. So the things that you are aware of in Tadasana, the things to do with your alignment, to do with your energy, to do with your focus, if you can bring that into some of the other postures, it can really help your practice. And in its own right, it's a lovely pose. So Tadasana means mountain pose or mountain posture. It is really symbolic of being strong, standing in your strength and overcoming obstacles. And the mountain is a very important symbol in yogic traditions of really having this rootedness, this groundedness, this strength, but also a sense of reaching or lifting up towards something greater than ourselves. At the peak of the mountain, kind of rising into heavens, into the universe, and reaching beyond our earthly body and opening ourselves up to greater knowledge, greater truths. So it's a really lovely symbol to use, and that's where our focus is in class. So we're going to start standing. So come to your mat, anywhere on your mat, and take your feet about hip distance, but you might find it more comfortable to be a little wider than hip distance. There's no, I'm not going to be picky about your feet. So if you want to let your feet turn out a little bit, if that feels more comfortable, just go ahead. I want you to find a firm base. So a base where you feel really nice and stable and strong. Okay. As women, most women find that when we stand in Tadasana or a similar pose, having our feet a little wider rather than together is actually more comfortable for our pelvis, just because of the angle of the legs as they come out of the pelvis. So just finding a comfortable place for you. And then we're going to take a moment to stand here, maybe close the eyes or soften the gaze. Don't do anything at the moment, just stand here. And in your mind's eye, picture a mountain. So a really beautiful tall mountain rising up from a big wide base, maybe with snowy peak. You can see that in your mind's eye. Visualize that image and that sense of strength and power that comes from that image, that stability, rising up, made of rock or made of earth. And then also, whilst picturing that and feeling into that sense of strength and stability, can you also zoom in a little in your mind's eye and see the movement on the mountain? So maybe the trees moving, swaying in the wind, rivers flowing, creatures, animals, other beings moving around in and out of the mountain. So there is life, there is movement, there is fluidity around the edges of this mountain as well. Lovely. And then if you can also tune into how it would be to breathe the air at the top of that mountain. So a sense of the air being clean and the air being free and really light and really filling you with a lovely lightness and a lovely energy. You start to drink in that breath. Imagine that you're filling yourself with the air from the peak of the mountain, that lovely energy, that lovely lightness, that freshness. Maybe allow that breath to be a little deeper, a little longer. Notice how or if that changes anything. Staying with an awareness of your breath, flicker your eyes open. We're going to start with our feet and work our way up. So bending your right knee and lift your right foot up onto the ball. Put a little bit of pressure forwards, just be gentle with your toes. And then we're going to roll the weight from the big toe side to the little toe side, spreading into the floor. Just seeing if you can wake up the underneath of the toes. rolling the ankle in and out. And then take that into a couple of circles. So come forwards and around, out and back down again. Really sensing into the ball of the foot. Lovely, and then let's pick up the foot, turn it over and place the toes down, the tops of the toes down on the mat. You might need to bend your supporting leg and stretch into the front of your foot. So maybe you want to just play a little bit here again with moving the weight across the front of the toes. This can feel a little bit strange if you're not used to it. And then releasing that foot back down. We're going to do the same on the other foot. So lift the heel, bend that knee, pressing into the toes, feeling the toes spreading into the mat, and then just start to roll the weight across the foot, from the inside edge to the outside edge, getting into the underside of the toes. Take that into a couple of circles of the ankles, bringing it back down to the floor, waking up the ball of the foot, waking up the toes. Pick up that foot, turn it over, and again just pressing into the front of the foot. And again, you can just move the weight or move the heel in and out to kind of get into different parts of the front of your foot there. Or you could just hold it somewhere and breathe. And we're going to pick that foot up, place it back down. Have a look at your feet. Have a look down. You may want to change your stride, go a bit wider again. Pick up all of your toes off the mat. And you can, maybe as you do that, have a sense of lifting the inner arch of your foot as well. Spread out your toes. You may find your fingers get involved. Spread out your toes as wide as you can. Big toes in, little toes out, make some space. And then see if you can place down just the little toes on the mat. And we're going to work through the feet one toe at a time. So just place one toe down, the next toe down, and then all the way along until the big toes come down. And that can be quite hard. So it might take a bit of concentration. Keep those toes spreading out now, so try and make some space between them, and keep that sense of lift in the inner arches of your feet. So now we're just going to really bring our attention into the balance of weight through the feet. So shift a little bit of the weight forwards into the balls and the toes of the feet, and shift a little bit of the weight backwards into the heels of the feet. And just see lightening up on the toes there, see how that feels. Shift a little bit of weight forwards. Maybe close the eyes or soften the gaze. And do that a few times, really to sense how it feels to have your weight placed in a different part of your feet. And then see if you can find somewhere in the middle where you feel like the center of your heel, the big toe joint and the little toe joint are nicely taking the weight evenly between them. And then we're going to start to sway the weight from side to side. So shifting from foot to foot, feeling the weight shift, feeling the sole of each foot spreading out, adjusting. And the same thing, we're going to bring ourselves into the middle for us. So we're not putting too much weight on one or the other side, but a sense of both feet taking equal weight. Forwards and backwards, side to side. Spreading out those toes and engaging a little bit of a lift and arch of the feet so we feel like the inner seam of the legs is supported. Have a little bend in your knees, just a micro softening, so not locking those legs straight. And then bring your hands onto your pelvis, working up the body now. We're going to scoop the tailbone underneath, so just tucking the tail, scooping the pelvis. We've got a nice flatter back. And then we're going to go the other way and tilt the pelvis forward, so we're sort of making a deeper arch in the back. Not too deep, just be gentle with your body. And then just take yourself through a few of those. You may need to bend the knees, but just moving the pelvis through that range of motion. See if you can move it evenly. Both sides are moving evenly. Forwards and backwards, and imagine a bowl of water, and as you tilt forwards it's like you're tipping the water out the front, and as you tilt the pelvis backwards you're tipping the water out the back. So just keep moving, maybe breathe with that movement. Then make it smaller, a little bit smaller, and bring it into somewhere that feels kind of balanced between those 2 points. So you're not tilting the water out the front and you're not tilting it out the back. You're holding your water in the bowl of your pelvis nice and level. So you may still have a sense of a little bit of your bum sticking out, or you may have a sense that you need to lengthen your tail a little bit more to feel balanced. Everybody's different, and you want to find somewhere that feels really nice and stable and balanced for you. So try to get rid of any instruction you may have heard about whether you need to really scoop your tailbone under or really anchor down to the ground, and find a neutral place or a place that feels balanced for you. And then see from that place if you can lengthen up a little through the spine. So almost a sense that the crown of your head is lifting up away from this base of the pelvis. And you might find as you do that a sense that the muscles in the core are just activating, engaging, drawing, helping support you stand up straight. Lovely, we're going to take that into the shoulders. So let's roll the shoulders up, back and down a few times. Big circles. Just getting into those muscles across the shoulder blades, around the front of the chest. And then we're going to go the other way too, so big circles. Nice deep breathing, keep that breath going. Then bring it back into the centre, we're going to shrug the shoulders up. And as we exhale, just a little sense of opening the front body and allowing the shoulders to drizzle down the back. It's like the shoulder blades are magnetically attached to one another, attracted to one another. So it's not really a huge movement where the chest lifts, it's just a sense of the shoulder blades drawing together, and you may feel the front of the chest feeling a bit more open or a bit more buoyant. And you might notice as that happens that naturally there's a little bit of rotation in the arm bones and the palms come more forwards. So what I don't think is great is to turn the hands forwards and really hug the shoulders back tight, because it is unnatural tension we don't really need. So we just want a natural feeling of lifting through the heart space, opening the front body and allowing the arms to hang from that place. Then we're going to clench the fingers and stretch the fingers, clench the fingers and stretch the fingers, and then give the hands a little shake. And if you feel like your arms are still holding on, give them a bit of a shake too. And then let them settle back down. So we're working our way up the body. Let's bring our awareness now into the head. We'll take the left ear to the left shoulder. And just have a moment then to lengthen on the right side of the neck. Look down and roll your head through center, and then roll the right ear to the right shoulder. So we're just looking to the floor, making these little semicircles from side to side. You can breathe. You could close the eyes. And easing out the neck. Come back to the center, so you're looking down, and then bring the head back up through the center line. And as you bring the head on top of the spine, see if you can imagine that you are standing against a wall. So your bottom, the tops of your shoulders, and the back of your head against the wall. There's a sense perhaps of pressing the head slightly back, and then the chin in line with the mat. So we're not lifting the chin, we're not dipping the chin right down, we're just having that sense of the head being really nicely balanced on top of the spine. See if you can relax your jaw, and move it around a bit, let it go. See if you can smooth and soften your brow as well. Lovely. Growing as if you're being drawn up through the crown of your head. Anchoring through the feet, and bring back to mind that image of the mountain, that Tadasana image. Wide at the base, strong at the base, anchoring into the earth, energy through the feet. Lengthening up, reaching up through the spine and out through the crown of the head. That soaring strength, but all the edges are soft, the flowing rivers, the soft trees, the leaves, the bushes, everything moving, everything fluid around the edges. So your center is strong, but your edges are soft. Now notice your breath once again, imagining that you could inhale through the crown of your head and all the way down to your tailbone. And then imagining that your exhale flows back up your spine and out through the crown of your head. So you're drawing in that beautiful fresh air through the crown of your head and down the river of your spine. And sensing into that awareness of strength, of stability, of power, but also softness, of alignment of energy, alignment of your body. We're going to see if we can stay with this feeling as we begin to do a little movement here. So on your next inhale, just allow the arms to reach out and float them up, like the breeze at the top of the mountain is drifting them up. Bring your palms to touch, and it's like you've created the peak of the mountain. Look up towards the hands. They don't have to look directly at the hands if the neck doesn't like it, but lift up, look up, reach up through the palms. And as you exhale, I'm going to slowly lower that all the way through center and bring that back to the heart space, bring that back to ourselves. So all of that lovely breath that we're drinking in, all of that lovely energy, strong through the legs, reaching up, lifting, lengthening, and then exhaling, hands float down the center line. Inhaling, reaching out, reaching high. As you exhale this time, we're going to bend those knees and we're going to fold over the legs. So just let everything fold forwards, flow forwards, and let your arms hang, let your head go. And just take a moment or two to let the weight of the head draw your spine really long. Nice soft knees. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, sigh it out. Then your next inhale, hands slide up the front of the legs. Lift your chest and offer your heart forwards. Now see if we can stay in a sense of mountain pose here. So we've still got strong legs. We've tilted forwards at the hip, but we want the spine to still be relatively straight and feel as if we're growing through the crown of the head. So, okay, you can look forwards a little bit if you feel that that helps, but don't really lift the chin and close off the back of the neck. We still want that lovely long line through the back of the neck. And then we're going to fold down on an exhale over the legs. Inhale halfway. Exhale, flow down. Inhale, we're going to rise to stand. So sweep the arms out wide, all the way up. Overhead, I'm just going to turn to face you again. On your next exhale, turn to your left, bring your right arm forward and your left arm back. So knees face forwards, a little bend, but we're rotating the chest. Inhale back through center. Exhale the other way. So turning the heart, turning the chest, keeping the hips relatively forwards. Inhale up. And on your next exhale, bend the knees and just sigh out. Swing forwards over your legs. Inhale, rise back up tall. Exhale, bend the knees and sinking down. Soft fingers, soft arms. Inhale, exhale. To the other side. Inhale. And then let it go. Exhale. Rising back to stand. Exhale, turn to the left. So those arms are kind of floating like birds, floating on currents of air. And exhale. Let it go. Come all the way back up. This time take the arms wide. Keep the heart lifted but start to bend the knees. And then we're just going to dive forwards in a swan dive over the legs. Okay. Let's step it back from here to downward dog. So step one foot back and then the other foot back to downward dog. And then bringing to mind that mountain shape. So spread the fingers, ground through the toes. Really feel anchored. You can have a bend in those knees. And think about lifting your sitting bones up and back, creating that mountain in your mind's eye. Inhale, lift up high on the toes, and we're going to come to plank. So just lowering your hips. And for a moment, if you're okay in full plank, we're going to see if we can create Tadasana here. So press back through the heels, press forward through the crown of your head. Think about really engaging the lower belly and just lifting your hips a little away from the floor. We've got gravity pushing us down here, so we want to resist that. Push through the hands, lengthen the neck, and then soften any edges that you can. Lower the knees. Inhale at the top and exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. See if you can take your time and keep the body in that line all the way down to the floor. Coming into Sphinx pose, so elbows are going to come in under our shoulders. Look straight ahead. Press into the elbows and see if you can lengthen through the crown of the head as you lift the heart and look forwards. So again, we're not lifting the chin and closing in the back of the neck. We're finding that lovely long spaciousness around the neck. As you inhale, think about maybe slightly drawing the elbows towards you and opening the chest even more. And as you exhale, we're going to hug the navel to the spine, round the back and dip the chin to the chest. Inhaling forwards and lifting up. So we're just engaging a little bit of that strength of the mountain here. This little mini curl up away from the ground. Switching on some of the core muscles. Just energizing here with the breath. And then on your next exhale, we're going to lower down to the floor. I'm going to reach the hands forwards, palms together, and place the forehead down on the mat. Just taking a moment to pause here in this pose. Very much like our Tadasana, or extended Tadasana, where you take the arms overhead. Can you imagine that you're reaching through the hands? Noticing that feeling of alignment through the spine, the back of the neck. And then sliding those hands back to your ribs. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. Press through the hands. Lift the heart space through Cobra. Bend the knees, and we're going to shift back to our child's pose. So take a nice wide knee bend and settle your sitting bones back towards your heels. If you need to bring something in underneath your head, just to prop your head, go ahead. And sink into that wide base of the legs. Deep breaths. And we're going to lift the head and bring the right arm and slide it under the left arm out to the side. And then see if we can lie it back down. Now you might be able to get your forehead down. You might have to turn the head and look underneath the arm. Either one is fine. Just see what works for you. Then slide your left fingertips back towards you. Press into the fingertips and come into a little bit more of a rotation through the upper back. A bit like a kind of thread the needle variation. Then release that. We're going to swap arms, so bring that right arm up and forwards. Take the left arm through and underneath. Reach forwards through the right fingertips, maybe turn the head. Breathe into that stretch in the shoulder. Then slide the right hand in, so it's in front of your face, and press into the ground to have a little rotation through the spine. Releasing that, bringing your hands to the floor and coming up onto all fours. Just take your time to come all the way up. Okay. Inhale to lift the chest, lift the tailbone, tuck your toes. And as you exhale, hug your navel towards your spine, push through your hands, and we're going to just hover the knees off the mat. And then breathe into that, feeling the strength in your body. And then pressing the hips up and back, come all the way into downward facing dog. Let's take this downward facing dog wider, so more of a mountain base, nice wide base. Take that mat distance, or you could go even wider off your mat if that felt okay. And send your sitting bones up and back. Lovely. And then we're going to step the feet back in line with our hips. We're going to bring the right foot forwards between the hands. So you might need to lower your knees here. Step the right foot to the top of your mat, so you're in a lunge. Lift your chest, open your heart, take an inhale. As you exhale, shift the hips back and start to straighten that front leg. Inhale forward, see if you can lift your heart. And exhale backwards. Maybe start to lift and peel the front toes away from the mat. Let's see how the body wants to be today. Never forcing, never straining. Lovely. Come forward into the lunge and we're going to rise into crescent lunge. So think about pressing through your floor and hugging the inner thighs in towards your center, and that will give you a stability to rise up. Palms together. And then as you exhale, take the arms back behind you and let them kind of drape down and back as you lift your heart space. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, think about the shoulder blades drawing together. Lift your heart, opening front body. Inhale up. Exhale down. And bowing forwards, bring your hands back to the floor, either side of your foot. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee, step back, downward facing dog. Okay, we're going to come onto the other side. So however you want to transition to bring the left foot forwards between the hands. Wiggle it long. You can always pad up the back knee. If you've got your mat, you can just fold over the edge so that you've got an extra cushion for your knee if you need it. Inhale, lift the heart space. Exhale, shift the hips back and start to straighten that front leg. It doesn't have to go to straight, it's just starting to straighten. Inhale forwards, exhale backwards. Inhale into the lunge and then rising all the way up, circle the arms. So really think about hugging those inner thighs towards one another, and then as we exhale, we're going to open the arms, so like we're opening our wings. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, opening, maybe lifting the heart a little higher. Inhale up. Exhale. Bowing forwards, hands to the floor. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and you're going to step this back foot up to the top of your mat. So just spring up, step up, and fold. And then circling the arms all the way overhead, sweeping them wide. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, hands to heart center. I'm just going to turn to face you. We're going to finish with a tree pose here. So the tree growing up the side of the mountain, roots down into the earth, and those branches reaching into the air, that lovely fresh, crisp air. So open your eyes and find Tadasana first. So really feel stable through the feet, spread out through the feet, balance through the soles of the feet. When you're ready, you're going to shift your weight into your left foot and turn your right knee out and bring the toes of the right foot to the floor and the heel of the right foot just resting against the ankle. Now, this is a really good place to be. Just stay here. If your tree feels wobbly, you can bring that foot down, but you can obviously have that foot a little higher, wherever feels nice for you. We're going to find Chin Mudra with the thumb and the index finger. This gesture of consciousness, so joining of our own consciousness with something beyond us, universal energy, divine, whatever it is you connect with. So steady your gaze, find your breath. When you're ready, you're going to sweep the arms out wide and reach them in a V shape overhead. So still with Chin Mudra with the thumb and the index finger touching. Lift the heart space, and it's like you've created a funnel. And you can imagine pouring down into the funnel energy, the gorgeous fresh breath of the mountain. And just drinking in the breath, being open to receive whatever it is that we need. The strength to overcome obstacles, the stability to weather the storms. Good. Slowly bringing those hands all the way back down. We'll swap to the other side. So shift the weight through center over to the other side. Let the toes touch, let the heel touch. You can come higher if that feels good for you today with that foot. And when you're ready, sweep the arms up into that V shape. Lift the gaze, lift the heart, and breathe. Really feeling that you're opening to receive, you're funneling in the energy of the universe. And then lowering that all back down to the floor, bringing those hands back to your heart space, palms touching, and we'll just find ourselves here in Tadasana for a moment or two. You can close the eyes, And take a moment to reimagine the mountain and to breathe in and down your spine. Imagine you're drawing that breath in through the crown of your head, out and up the spine. The river of your spine flowing with breath. Your body strong and stable and steady. And all of the edges of your posture are easy and soft. And take a moment just to bow your head, sending yourself some gratitude for giving yourself this time and space to connect, practice yoga. Namaste.